All right, let's get right into it. The man in charge of consumer AI at Microsoft, one of the most powerful companies on the planet, is literally building our future. But here's the twist. He's also one of the loudest voices warning us that this future could go horribly, terribly wrong. His name is Mustafa Suleyman, and what he has to say is both a roadmap and a serious warning.
And yeah, he does not pull any punches. Let's just start with his most shocking claim. I mean, think about that. This isn't some sci-fi author trying to sell books. This is a direct quote from a guy at the absolute bleeding edge of the industry. So you have to ask, right? How does someone in his position get to such a dark conclusion?
And that right there, that's the core conflict of this whole thing. See, Suleyman co-founded DeepMind, one of the labs that kicked this whole revolution off. And now he's leading the charge at Microsoft AI. He's not some critic throwing rocks from the outside. He is the architect. And he's deeply, deeply concerned that the whole structure he's helping to build might not be stable.
To really get a handle on the risk he's talking about, you first have to understand the massive shift that's already happening. We're moving beyond the information age and into what he calls the agentic age.
This is a huge deal. You see, we're used to chatbots, right? They answer our questions, they give us information. But agents, well, agents do things. They're designed to take action. We're talking about AI that can book your flights, manage your entire calendar, and execute really complex tasks for you. They're going from being passive tools to active players in our lives and in our economy.
So how do you even measure this new kind of power? Well, forget about asking an AI if it's a human. Suleyman has this new test, a kind of modern Turing test. It's all about economic power. Can you give an AI agent $100,000, and can it, all by itself, turn that into $1 million? And get this isn't some far-off dream. He predicts this is just a few years away.
Okay, so once you have this incredible capability, this power to act in the world, you run headfirst into a really deep philosophical problem. What happens when this new agent starts to look like a new kind of being?
And this is where Suleyman plants his flag. His whole argument isn't really about technology, it's about morality. He's saying, look, before we even start talking about the rights of some new digital intelligence, we have a first duty, a moral imperative to protect our own species. He's a humanist, first and foremost.
And this slide right here, it just lays out perfectly why he's so worried. Just look at the comparison. On one side, that's us. We're biological, we're slow, we're messy, our memories are flawed. And on the other side, a digital intelligence that can be copied perfectly, instantly, for almost no cost. As a species, we are just not built to go head-to-head in that kind of competition.
Which brings us right back to that terrifying warning about legal personhood. Because if you give rights, if you give legal standing to an entity that has these kinds of advantages, he argues it's inevitable. It becomes a competitor for resources, for influence, and ultimately for control. And it's a competition that, just by our very nature, we would be destined to lose.
So, what's the answer? He doesn't think we should just stop everything. Instead, he's proposing the strategy of containment. And he describes it as walking this razor's edge between just letting the tech run wild on one side and locking it down so tight that we create a global surveillance state on the other. It's a tricky balance.
And his plan isn't some simple one-step fix. It's a defense with multiple layers. It starts with technical safety measures baked right into the AI itself. Then you add strict global regulations. You create choke points on the hardware it needs to run. And at the very top, you have international treaties between the superpowers, basically treating AI with the same level of seriousness as nuclear weapons.
Now, to make this whole idea feel a little less intimidating, he uses a really simple analogy. Think about the car. When we realized how dangerous cars could be, we didn't ban them. No, we built a whole ecosystem of safety around them. Seatbelts, speed limits, driver's ed, traffic lights, the whole thing. He believes we can, and we absolutely must, do the same thing for AI.
But here's the thing. Suleyman's containment idea, as thought out as it is just one voice in a really fierce global debate. And this debate isn't happening behind closed doors in some boardroom. It's happening right now, out in the open, on forums, in public.
You can basically boil down the debate into two main camps. On one side, you've got Suleyman's approach, containment. You could think of it as building a better cage, with hard limits and strict controls. But on the other side, you have pioneers like Geoffrey Hinton who are talking more about alignment. This is more like raising a better child. The idea is, could we give an AI a kind of maternal instinct, something that makes it actually care for humanity? Suleyman is pretty skeptical of that.
He wants hard engineering-style breaks, not a solution that relies on feelings.
And of course, the public has a lot to say. There's a lot of skepticism. This comment really gets at a key question about motives. Are these calls for regulation really about keeping everyone safe, or are they just a sneaky move by companies who feel like they're falling behind in the race to build the most powerful AI?
Then you get the deep philosophical pushback. People are asking, is this whole speciest argument just a convenient way to dodge some really tough ethical questions? This comment right here, it cuts to the heart of a debate that's only going to get more and more intense as these systems get smarter.
And for a lot of people, this isn't about philosophy or some distant future. It's about their jobs, today. This comment cuts right through all the high-level talk and gets to the immediate economic fear. As these AI agents take over more and more tasks, how are people supposed to make a living? The call for universal basic income, or UBI, is definitely getting louder.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that this conversation belongs to every single one of us. The future of AI isn't going to be decided in some secret lab by a handful of people. It's being shaped right now by this messy, complicated, and totally essential public debate. Which leaves us with the final, unavoidable question. It's the one that's sitting underneath all the technical jargon and all the philosophical arguments. Because once that genie is out of the bottle, once we've actually created something that is smarter than we are, who's really in control?